You guys are not going to believe how close the NFL actually got to bringing back replacement refs again. And, yeah, the second I heard that, I immediately started thinking about that crazy Seahawks moment everybody still talks about to this day. But now, there's finally an update, and honestly, this could end up being huge news for Seattle heading into the season. So without further ado, let's get straight to the point. Click the like button and write in the comments, "Go Hawks!" The Seattle Seahawks just avoided something that could have completely changed the feel of the 2026 NFL season. And honestly, a lot of fans may not even realize how close this situation actually got. The NFL and the NFL Referees Association officially agreed to a brand new 7-year collective bargaining agreement, meaning there will be no replacement referees this season. And for Seahawks fans, that news could end up being far more important than people initially think. The moment this agreement became official, it instantly erased the possibility of another officiating disaster like the infamous Fail Mary game that Seahawks fans remember better than almost anybody else in football. That game still lives in NFL history forever because of Golden Tate's controversial touchdown catch against Green Bay during the replacement referee era. Even now, years later, people still argue about that play, and the NFL clearly had no interest in allowing the league to get embarrassed on that level again. What makes this situation even more fascinating is how close the NFL actually came to another referee crisis. The previous agreement between the league and the officials was set to expire on May 31st, and negotiations were becoming serious enough that people around the league were preparing for the possibility of replacement crews stepping onto NFL fields again. For Seahawks fans, this matters because Seattle has always been one of the loudest and most emotional environments in football. Games at Lumen Field are already chaotic for opposing offenses. Add inexperienced replacement officials into that environment, and suddenly every close call becomes a potential controversy waiting to happen. The NFL clearly understood that the league could not afford another season where officiating became the main storyline instead of the players on the field. One of the biggest takeaways from the new agreement is that the NFL reportedly pushed for a much more rigorous development process for officials moving forward. According to the discussion around the new deal, the league wanted referees to undergo stronger training systems, more accountability measures, and improved performance evaluations. That is massive for a Seahawks team preparing for what could become one of the most competitive NFC seasons in recent memory. Every single game matters now. Every division matchup matters. Seattle cannot afford to lose momentum because of poor officiating in a critical late-season game. The NFL reportedly wanted officials spending more time training, reviewing film, and preparing for game situations at a higher level than before. There was also discussion about creating a stronger pipeline of backup officials who would be fully prepared if needed. And honestly, that should excite Seahawks fans. Think about how fast the NFL game has become. Players are bigger, stronger, and faster than ever before. Offensive systems are more complex. Defensive disguises are more advanced. The speed of decision-making on the field is ridiculous now. If officiating does not improve alongside the athletes, the gap becomes impossible to ignore. That is exactly why this agreement feels so important. The league understands that officiating cannot remain stagnant while every other aspect of football evolves. Seattle fans have seen too many games around the NFL become overshadowed by questionable penalties, missed calls, and inconsistent enforcement. The NFL clearly wants to restore confidence in the product, and this agreement appears to be a major step toward that goal. Another huge point being discussed is accountability. For years, NFL fans everywhere have complained that officials face almost no public consequences for mistakes. Missed holding calls, blown pass interference decisions, ignored face masks, incorrect spots. Fans see these moments every week. What frustrated people even more was the feeling that nothing changed afterward. Now, according to comments from league executive Troy Vincent, this new agreement represents a commitment from both sides to improve officiating standards across the league. That wording matters. Improvement means evaluation. Evaluation means accountability. Accountability means officials potentially earning playoff assignments based on performance rather than simply receiving them automatically. That could dramatically improve the quality of games late in the season when Seattle is battling for playoff positioning. And there is another reason Seahawks fans should care about this more than some other fan bases do. Seattle has historically played in emotional, physical, nationally watched football games, primetime games, rivalry games, playoff atmosphere games. Those are exactly the situations where officiating mistakes become amplified. If the Seahawks are playing the Rams late in the season with division implications on the line, the last thing anybody wants is uncertainty surrounding the officiating crew. The NFL appears determined to avoid that. And speaking of nationally watched games, some early schedule leaks surrounding Seattle are already creating major buzz around the league. According to reports discussed from Seattle radio personality Softy, the Seahawks could be getting as many as 6 primetime games this season. That alone tells you how the NFL views this team entering 2026. The league clearly believes Seattle is relevant again. The reported schedule leaks include possible Monday Night Football matchups against the Chicago Bears and Dallas Cowboys, plus a Christmas Day showdown against the Los Angeles Rams. That is not a normal schedule. That is the type of schedule the NFL gives teams expected to contend and draw massive television audiences. There are also reports suggesting Seattle could face the Washington Commanders in Week 3, Kansas City in Week 7, Las Vegas in Week 10, and Philadelphia in a Saturday showcase game during Week 15. And if those reports are accurate, the end of Seattle's schedule could become absolutely brutal. Potentially finishing the season with Philadelphia and the Rams back-to-back would create an incredibly difficult closing stretch. But that is also where better officiating becomes even more important. The margin between winning and losing in those games could be razor-thin. One missed holding call, one incorrect roughing the passer penalty, one blown pass interference decision. Those moments swing playoff races. Seattle fans know this league well enough to understand how quickly momentum can shift in the NFC. The Seahawks also reportedly could open the preseason against Dallas at Lumen Field before additional preseason games against Tennessee and Kansas City. Even though preseason games do not count in the standings, they still matter for roster battles, quarterback development, and team chemistry. Having experienced officials working those environments instead of replacement crews gives teams a cleaner evaluation process during training camp and preseason preparation. And maybe the biggest takeaway from all of this is simple. The NFL learned from its previous mistake. The replacement referee era became one of the most mocked stretches in league history. It damaged credibility. It created controversy. It turned officiating into the headline every single week. The league clearly had no interest in reliving that disaster. Seattle fans especially understand that history because one of the most famous moments from that era happened directly involving the Seahawks. The Fail Mary will always be connected to this franchise, whether people love it or hate it. Now, the NFL is trying to make sure the story moving forward becomes about the players, again, not the officiating crews. And with Seattle potentially entering a season packed with primetime games, major NFC matchups, and playoff expectations, that could end up being one of the biggest victories the Seahawks got all offseason without even stepping onto the field. What do you think about the NFL avoiding replacement referees and the possibility of Seattle getting 6 primetime games this season? Write in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel turn on notifications, and stay locked in, because all the biggest Seahawks updates are coming right here first. Drop your thoughts in the comments, leave a like if you're fired up for this season, and don't miss the next video on your screen right now.